did. She looked bad. She came and visited us here at the church, and we prayed for her. I administered to her over the phone. Actually, I'd given her some teaching on healing I had done to listen to. And we gave her that, and she listened to it. She told me, I talked to her a few days after I'd given it to her, she listened to the first teaching 6 times before she went to the second one, which is good. She wanted to get it in her. A lot of times we'll hear something once and think, okay, I got that. Well, you might have it here, but you want to get it here.
That's right. That's it.
I've listened to messages like, if I hear revelation, I've listened to things by Andrew Womack and different people, you know. If it's a revelation I want to get, I might listen. It might be a 5-part series. I've actually listened to the first teaching 30 times. And that seems to people. But I'm not just listening to it to listen to it. I want to get it in me. I want that revelation. So I listen to it 30 times. Why am I going to skip that one but go to the second one if I ain't got the first one? Does that make sense? Anyway, she listened to the first one like 6 times, then went to the second CD and same thing, and she went through it. And she came on Wednesday night, and we laid hands on her and prayed for her. I'll make a long story real short. Her heart was so enlarged it couldn't pump blood anymore, and that's why she was on hospice, and they told her they were writing her off. Her heart shrank. Her heart shrank. And she received healing. And the doctors acknowledged this is a miracle that medical science hadn't done it. Okay? And I'm not bragging on us. This is the power of God. We're reading about the healer right here, Jesus, right? Okay? She received healing. Well, that's awesome. Great testimony. About 3 years passed. And I heard that she'd had some... Now, what will Satan do? He's a thief. He'll try to steal. And if he got it once, he'll try to come get it again. I heard that she was having some trouble, so I called her up on the phone. This lady, and the same symptoms had come back on her. And I went to some of the scriptures I told y'all about today. I said, well, you know, 1 Peter 2:24 says, by Jesus' stripes we were healed. And she said, where's that at? Now, this is a person who listened to the CD, the first one, 6 times. She had this. She had it down. Then I went over to Matthew 8:17 with her, and I said, you know, it says right here in Matthew 8:17, He took our infirmities and He bore our sicknesses. And she said, that's in the Bible? We got to keep our healing. Amen. We got to keep it. Were you going to say something?
Yeah.
I'm not criticizing this lady.
Right.
This is not unusual for this kind of thing to happen.
Right. Well, what happened, there's a couple of things that happened. She didn't stay in the Word. Mm-hmm. She didn't get out of the dead church she was in. So she went back to the teaching that she had always had. And I'm not, look.
We're 4 churches.
We're 4 churches. But it's life and death where you go to church. It's life and death where you go. And I'm
feeling better, by the way, just so y'all know.
If you don't know, amen. If you don't know what the Word says and you don't continue in it, faith comes by hearing, and hearing not by having heard. I ate yesterday, but today, it ain't going to do me good what I ate yesterday. I'm going to be hungry again today.
That's right. Well.
You try to go. Yeah. You go and eat a year ago and see how well it does you today. You forget steak. What is that? What did that taste like?
Come on.
You need to keep the Word in front of you. And you need to be in a place that preaches the Word. You need to feed yourself the Word. That's what happened. If you don't stay with, I'm telling you, faith comes by hearing and hearing, not by having heard.
Amen.
Okay?
Right. So we need to get in the Word to stay there. And we need to stay in the Word. I don't want you losing your healing. You don't have to lose your healing.
Right. You don't lose it. You just stop believing. And that's
right.
Why.
That's the best. That's the correct way to put it. I'm saying
you don't lose it. You just stop believing.
You stop believing. We walk away from it.
That's right. I want to say one more other thing.
Go ahead.
Can I say one other thing? This lady over in Mark, when she had heard of Jesus, verse 27, and came, she had heard of Jesus, and she kept saying, if I just touch the hem of His garment, if I just touch the hem of His garment. A lot of times people will think, well, Jesus didn't pick me to be healed. They think it's about Jesus seeing you. They think it's about somebody that calls your name out and your symptom. That if that happens, then I'll be healed. Jesus didn't see her. What she said.
He didn't choose her. She came, yeah.
She chose him.
It was a sneak attack.
That's right. It was a sneak attack. And when she attacked him with her faith, he said, who touched me. He did not know. So that just blows out the window that Jesus didn't choose you for healing.
That's a good word.
You choose healing by
You choose
It's
healing.
available. We choose it with
You
our faith.
receive it.
That's good.
It's not up to him, it's up to you.
Right.
That's good stuff.
Verse 34, is that where we were? Yep. Mike's got it in the Amplified. Look here. He said to her, daughter, your faith, your trust and confidence in me, springing from your faith in God, has restored you to health. Go into peace and be continually healed and freed from your distressing bodies. He knew she was already healed. He's telling her, keep it. And again, if you read this in the Greek, you'll see that. He tells her to keep her healing. Okay. So Jairus had come to get Jesus to go pray for his daughter who was about dead. Jesus got interrupted by the woman with the issue of blood. And verse 35 says, while he was still speaking, some came from the ruler of the synagogue's house, that's Jairus, who said, your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further?
It's never too late.
Never too late with the Lord. Verse 36 says, as soon as Jesus heard the word that was spoken, he said to the ruler of the synagogue, do not be afraid, only believe. Do not be afraid, only believe. Do not be afraid, only believe. You know, some people hear a doctor's report and fear comes.
Immediately.
Oh my goodness. Come on.
Fear, well, I'm telling you, fear and faith, you
Don't be afraid, only believe. I'm going to tell you something. Cancer is not the big C. Christ is the big C.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, y'all, if you're going to do it right.
yeah, that's right.
Do not be afraid, only believe. Before Jairus could speak a word, what's important? It's important what comes out of our mouths. Before Jairus could say anything, Jesus jumped in. Verse 37, he permitted no one to follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. There's so much here we can learn from. Cut off unbelief in your life.
That's right.
He permitted no one to follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. Then he came to the house of the ruler of the synagogue and saw a tumult and those who wept and wailed loudly. Verse 39 says, when he came in, he said to them, why make this commotion and weep? The child is not dead, but sleeping. You speak your faith, call it like you want it, no matter what somebody else says. Verse 40 says, they ridiculed him. So? But when he had put them all outside, he took the father and the mother of the child and those who were with him and entered where the child was lying. So what did he do? He put them all outside. He said, y'all don't believe? Get out.
You got to get rid of unbelief. Whatever form it's in, you got to get rid of unbelief.
Yeah. Might mean turn TV off.
Jesus, you think, okay, Jesus was stopped by unbelief. It says that he couldn't, remember? He was over in his hometown. And it said he was not able to do many mighty works there because of their unbelief. If unbelief, and it wasn't Jesus' unbelief, it was unbelief around him. If unbelief will stop Jesus,
It'll stop us.
I'm telling you, you need to get rid of unbelief in whatever form it is in. If it's human form, if it's TV form, if it's whatever form it is in. And if it's in your mind, you can make unbelief go.
There's a lot of unbelief on television nowadays. Our live streamer, you can watch that.
Yeah, watch the live stream.
So they ridiculed him, but when he had put them all outside, he took the father and the mother of the child and those who were with him and entered where the child was lying. Verse 41, then he took the child by the hand and said to her, Talitha Kumi, which is translated, little girl, I say to you, arise. Verse 42, immediately the little girl arose and walked, for she was 12 years of age, and they were overcome with great amazement. Amen. It's never too late. There's a lot there. This is just a real quick thing, but we're just hitting sickness head on. Amen? Amen. Sickness does not belong to us. Healing belongs to
Amen.
us. And what I